What is going on, everybody? I hope you are doing well. Today, I want to hammer home the point of the difference between investing versus based on hype versus based on utility. This is critically important. I want to do it within the context of crypto gaming. And yeah, just sharing a little insight that I thought was really, really valuable. This shouldn't take long whatsoever. So let's just dive straight into it. So I made a previous video. I may even put this video as the next video in that playlist. So if you're watching, then you'll know which video I'm talking about, where I'm describing the difference and the flow of investing based on hype. Now, of course, none of this is financial advice, but this is my personal opinion and how I am looking at doing things. So when it's based on hype, it's susceptible to speculation, which is fueled by fear, greed, FOMO, news releases, announcements. All of these types of things are pretty much the sole contributor to price. And therefore, it is very, very risky. Therefore, I will be risking a very, very small amount in these things. Now, when we refine this down and we look at crypto gaming, so we look at the crypto gaming market, 99% of these games are either unreleased or they are released, but they have a very small user base. The overwhelming majority, because we are so early, which is a good thing. But when we understand that, that means that most of the things we'll be looking at are going to be based off of hype, not utility. It's so easy to get lost looking at these projects and, be having really big belief about the industry and being like, yeah, sweet, man, like this. Yeah, everyone's saying that crypto gaming is the future. Like, let's do it. Let's smash it out the park. That's all great, but it's just not really very realistic. And so one of the things that I've been working on over the last few weeks and getting into, I'm still at the ridiculously early stages, is I have been learning to code and program a video game. I'm on the beginning of a very long journey for me. I did it because, just as a quick side note, because I've got this idea for a game that I'm not going to share right now, but I think it's just going to be absolutely insane, but it's probably going to take me a couple of years and a hell of a lot of money to make it. So yeah, but the point of that and the lessons that I've learned from that, and this was also confirmed by watching a video from Elio Trades. At the time this is uploaded, it will be 2 days ago from today. He was talking about him being in game development since 2018. And it really, really resonated with me because I think a lot of people do not understand this. And I do recommend you go and check out his channel as well. He has a great way of explaining everything, not just within crypto gaming, but beyond as well. But I wanted to illustrate this by talking about the difference between a trailer and some gameplay and some user gameplay. So just to make the distinction here, for me, gameplay is the game releases some of the developers playing the game. But for me, that is kind of one stage down from user gameplay, which is, if they release an alpha version or a beta version of the game so that players can actually play it themselves and get a feel for the game. Now, in my opinion, it just makes logical sense that trailers are so much. If a game has only got a trailer, it's going to be a lot more risky than a game that's got clear user gameplay. Why is that? Because a trailer is infinitely easier to make than gameplay. And this is something that I really didn't understand the level, like the scale of, and how much this was true. I was like, oh yeah, well, obviously it's going to be harder to make gameplay, but I had no idea how much harder it is to make a gameplay. Why is that? Well, with a trailer, you've got predetermined animation in a fixed environment, meaning everything's pre-decided. You can just create it. Yes, you need to add loads of textures and make everything look good and all this sort of stuff, but that is not a game. It is like the difference between recording a video on your phone versus creating the phone and the environment. It's an inconceivable difference. And just these are a few of the elements that go into creating a game: the assets, so the physical objects in the game; the physics, so how do these objects interact with one another; how does the character interact with the environment; all of those different things translated into code, and and basically talking with a computer so that a computer can understand you. That is very, very difficult to do. Art, creating it so that it looks good, having good music, animation, how does everything move within the environment. And so it's different to having it in a fixed environment, because these animations need to operate. So if you looked left away from it and then you look back, it was still doing the same thing. That is difficult to do. That is much more difficult than creating a trailer. And then integrating that on the blockchain. Okay, this is something I'm not massively versed up on. I do know a little bit, but I'm not going to embarrass myself or talk about something that I'm not a little bit more confident on. Okay, but from what I've heard, a lot of these integrations are fairly slow at this current point. But when we go back here and we look at all of these different games, Illuvium got a cool trailer, Sandbox, we've got some gameplay from the developers, and we have also got a game creator, which is a big plus. Axie Infinity is a functional game, but it's very, very basic. It's 2D, kind of cartoony. Decentraland is a functional 3D space. That's great. Is it a surprise that it's near the top? No. Do I think Decentraland is really, really great? It doesn't jump off the page at me, if I'm being honest. That's just my personal opinion. Illuvium's got a great trailer. Star Atlas, amazing, amazing trailer. But is that a game? No. Now, what does this mean? It means that you need to understand what level of risk you are going for. Because if they don't have much stuff going on, the risk is going to be significantly higher because it's more based on hype than utility. And I'm not saying that games with good trailers are doomed to fail and they're not going to do well. I'm just dealing with risk and the probabilities here. What is the probability that a good game is going to get released? That's the only real main question I'm asking. And then I'm looking at the value and going into all of those other kind of investment jargons. But I wanted to break this down here because, in fact, let me just show you this quickly. So this is the Unity asset store. They've also got an Unreal asset store. And this just goes to show how much people can develop and buy. So if I wanted to buy this, I could buy this art pack. And my guess would be, if most of you saw this as a crypto game and you had, one influencer saying, oh, look, this is great, you'd think, oh, you would just assume that it was a game that had been developed. But this is not even close to a game. What about the physics? How do these characters interact with one another? What about all of the different physics of understanding the relationship between different objects and then the characters to those objects? What about the music? What about the further art outside of these packs? There are so many elements that go into this. And so you should not be fooled by seeing great art and great 3D objects, because those are just not games. And what I'm saying here is I'm saying use this as a tool to understand the difference between hype and utility. Don't just jump and be like, oh, this game looks amazing. Everyone said it's great. So it's utility. It's a great game. It's really good. And so I'm looking at this for the long term, because then you may get caught on the wrong side because you're thinking about it. You're thinking about something that's hype-based as utility-based. That's not to say that things that are hype-based now can't be utility-based in the future. And what that means is, go from something that's based on speculation where there's no clear gameplay to then a fully released game. Then it would transition into the utility. Because once that game, if it's good, has a good user base, those people are going to be driving and supporters of the project, regardless of whether good or bad news comes out. Generally speaking, because they really enjoy playing the game, they're going to continue playing that game. And so it's very, very important to understand, because if you invest in hype-based stuff with a utility-based approach, in my opinion, you're completely screwed. Okay. It's so much higher risk than applying a hype-based approach to a hype-based coin. Okay. Versus and doing the same for utility. Okay. But I've got a video, the previous video, I believe I spoke about that. And I'm going to make a lot more videos on understanding how to read hype and doing it hopefully in real time and stuff like that for you guys. But obviously, this is all just my opinion. This is how I'm looking at things. This is not financial advice. And yeah, but guys, I'm going to stop this video here. I really hope that you've enjoyed it. If you have, I would appreciate it if you left a like on the video. And I'm also going to leave a link up on the screen right now for the playlist of all of the coins that I've analyzed, so that you can go and enjoy those and see how I'm going through and marking these things out. And if you haven't seen that previous video about hype on the channel, I do recommend you go and check that out as well. But thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.